Parsons. Welcome to the Riley Snaps social media platform. Tonight I am doing a video that God specifically pointed out for me to do, and I'm a little bit nervous. Not because I'm not confident that I have the knowledge needed to make this video, but because I don't usually share myself this deeply with people, or at least people that I don't know very well. So if you're new, I am Riley. I am from Wichita Falls, Texas, and this is my video about what it's like to be a 4-wing 5 on the Enneagram. If you don't know what the Enneagram is, I will have links and resources in this video, but I kind of just wanted to get kind of serious. My other videos have been kind of just uplifting and things, but if you are feeling misunderstood, this video is for you. Up until this afternoon, I actually thought I was a type 5. If you look at those core fears and desires of the 4 and the 5, you can see how they can both go together. So for a while I was just going, which one am I? So, hello, I'm here to give you some insight. I've heard that the am I a 5-wing 4 or a 4-wing 5 is one of the most common mistypings. So maybe this will give you some insight, because I get it. It is. I have believed I was a 5 for the past year now, to come to find out I am a 4. So, gosh, how do I start this? Alright. You feel everything. You just, you go outside, like, you see it raining, and you look for deeper meanings of things. So, it's like the earth is crying with you whenever you're sad. Or, it's just very a romantic take on the earth and what is God's creation. So, of course, you can be a little dramatic as a 4. And not every 4 is dramatic. Some are more reserved. For me, for the longest time, I was reserved, and I actually tried to suppress the feelings within because I thought they were impractical. Except that if I don't feel stuff, I'll miss out on all the good, too. It's like 2 different people are trying to drive the same car at the same time. One, you don't want to leave the wheel to because you're afraid that they'll miss out on the good parts of the road trip, while on the other side, you're afraid that they'll go into dangerous territory and the whole car will wreck. I feel like that's a good analogy for this. What made me realize that I was a 4 was that, I have been winging 3 this whole time. The 3, the performer, the achiever. The 4 is the individualist, and the 5 is the investigator. I've heard lots of different names for all these numbers. How the 5 is their core desires are to be competent, and then their main fear is to be incompetent or helpless, victimized. And then the 4's is not being able to be their true, authentic self, and because the desire of a 4 is to be, your own authentic personal identity. You can totally see how both of those came. So whenever I was in a harder place, my goals for life was just to be competent. I was like, I want to be a romantic, I want to be thrill-seeking and spontaneous while at the same time practical and down-to-earth. And I want to be liked. I want to be accepted for who I truly am. And I want to be understood, but but at the same time I want to remain inordinately mysterious. Sometimes I feel like I'll never be truly accepted if I am my true authentic self. So then there's that self-hatred of, if I was just more like this person, that 4 envy just comes out. Like, you see a girl that's popular, she's got a lot of friends, and you just think, if I was more like her, I would have this. And so you have to train your mind to just stop. Like, just stop comparing. I didn't realize I had this problem until like earlier today, and I was like, this makes so much sense my whole life. And so there was this stage in my life, it was like back in, I'd say September to December of 2019, where I was really tapping into some of the unhealthy characteristics of a 3, where I was just putting on my chameleon like tendencies and doing anything in my power just to be liked in certain friend groups. And I mean, I have a healthy, stable home. It's not like I needed more friends. I just wanted it so much because I have asked God for more friends my entire life. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to have to go out there and get it. The 3s are in that aggressive stance, and the 5s and the 4s are in that withdrawn. So it was just kind of very out of the ordinary for me. I was going, who am I? So I kind of lost myself for a little bit. And now I'm back. But I was just looking back on that today and going, where did that come from? And that's whenever I realized, I'm a 4. Okay. So, another thing about the 5 and 4 similarities is how they grow. 5s, they grow in the 8 by being confident in their abilities, because I've always struggled with never feeling like I'll ever be prepared enough. So I just have to keep researching and researching till I finally feel competent enough to go, you know? So the 5s, they grow in that 8 of just being confident in who they are, what their abilities are, and they're go-getters, you know? So you can kind of see where those growth things can be similar, because the 4s, they just become more organized, and they have more inner morals, because the 4-wing 5 is the bohemian or the free spirit. So it's good to have that organization growth arrow. And then 4s, they stress. They stress like a 2, it's a helper. Because it's like you get upset, and then you want to be found in the depths of your despair, but you also feel ashamed by it. So like you don't want to be found. The 5 stress like a 7, so they get so scatterbrained and they freeze. So I'll walk into a store, and sometimes it'll hit me like a ton of bricks. Let me back up. So imagine this. I'm in deep thought about a certain situation, relationship, or maybe just a project or a subject that I'm learning. I'm deep processing, and then I realize I'm in the middle of a store. And my mom's trying to bring me outward so she can figure out what kind of coffee to order for me. And I just stand there, because what's going on in here is the light is buzzing. The music is repeating itself, and it's loud, and my little brother is humming loudly, while my other brother is asking me questions, and my mom is asking me what kind of coffee I want. So I just freeze. And it's like my brain just stops working. But what happens in here is pure panic, pure anxiety, because I feel like I am not competent enough to handle this. Like, I will never measure up. I will never be able to handle it. So I have an anxiety attack, and if you've ever had one of those, it's like the walls close in, and it's like just darkness. It's just, ugh. One time it was so bad, I was just staring at my hand as it shook, and I just stared at it and cried. And sometimes I'll cry before the anxiety attack hits because I know how bad it is. So that's what happens whenever I'm stressed. I just go into this deep, dark pit of despair. As a 5 or 4, it's just automatically overwhelming because you take in so much information so quick. You know, so either I'm walking around, I'm in my own head, I'm thinking about something, and I am misplacing objects while I'm in deep thought. I'm just oblivious to my outer world, or I am taking in everything at once and freezing, like a crashed computer. So that's the negative aspects of my headspace, my 5 wing. It's just feeling like I don't have it all together, you know, and I don't. But feeling like I will never be able to measure up. And 5s, they have this very small social battery. So I also inherited that. So even just hanging out with pleasant, loving, great people that God has blessed me with, it's still draining no matter what, because it's mental energy and emotional energy. So you have your natural problem solver brain here, that 5 wing that's going, do you need help? Like, let's strategize, let's get this done. And then there's the 4 side that's, are you okay? Like, do you need to talk about it? Let's talk deep about it. Let's go. It's an interesting paradox. And then there's that 3 wing side that I don't use as often, and it's you have that paradox of feeling like, well, since I know I won't measure up, maybe the metaphorical mask I put on will be able to do it if I'm just somebody else. I have to learn how to live in the present more because I'm also happen to be in that past triad thing, or the withdrawn stance. There's like a ton of different things, but where you kind of hold on to the past a lot. So you combine that with the emotional attachment you have to people from the past that you have to break with soul tie break, you know. And then you have the let's overanalyze what went wrong with this relationship until I'm exhausted. So then I get analysis paralysis, and again, I freeze. I malfunction. I'm a crashed computer. I'm a wreck. So this, my room here, I call it my cave because whenever I'm in the pit of despair, I turn off all the lights and I get under my covers and I cry. Like, that is whenever I'm in a dark place. That is what I do. So then my mom comes in and she's like, let's go outside and do something. You know, we're over this now. And it really helps me. But it's funny because whenever I don't want to be helped, it's so annoying. It's like, you're sad, you're feeling all the feels, you're feeling melancholy, but you don't want anyone to fix it because sometimes it can feel like you are that emotion for the day. But you're not. But it can kind of feel that way. So sometimes whenever she tries to cheer me up, it's like, no. It's like, no, I just want to sit in this a little longer. I just, sometimes it's good to be sad. And I say that and my mom's like, I did not understand that. My brother too, he's a 6. He's like, what? I was just like, I'm like, I don't want anyone to fix me. I don't need fixing. So sometimes it can feel a little bit like a personal attack, but really it's just her trying to go, hey, there's life outside of this feeling here. So it's a healthy balance we have, her and I. So yeah, you get annoyed when people try to cheer you up, but you also, the danger of that 4 and 5 combination is just isolating yourself from others because you don't feel competent, you feel weird, and you feel like you'll never measure up. So you just isolate yourself, you just withdraw, you just get under your covers and cry. It's like the world is over for that moment. And then you get out of it and you're fine. Very neurotic, if that's the right word, neurotic. Just quick changes in emotion throughout the day, and it's exhausting. So I like to think of the 5 and 4 dynamic to be my head switch and my heart switch. So with the heart, there's the fantasy and reality switch. So you're walking about your day. So if you're in a very kind of free-spirited mood, you might go, like, I don't know about you, I like to go barefoot outside and just smell the rain and dance in it and thank God for it. I used to have this climbing tree in my backyard. I gave it a name and everything. I can't remember what it was. But, like, I swear, before we moved away from it, I was just, like, hugging onto the tree. It was like it was my friend. That tree meant so much to me. I cried on that tree. I yelled on that tree. And I played happily on that tree. So I felt like there was just this energy, this life that this tree had, and I would hug it. It was kind of one of those smaller ones, and I would just climb up there and hug it. But you know what I mean? It's just, let's take it all in. And then on the fantasy switch, you have this whole world you've made up in your head. This is why I'm a writer. Like, for me, writing is a place where I can control the whole world within the writing. I can change it, morph it as much as I want. So it takes out my controlling urge to just have some bit of control over my life, and then also the need for entertainment and fantasy and a life that's maybe more extravagant than mine. Like, I'm not just satisfied with a comfortable life. I gotta have a crazy one with all the feels. I gotta have the lowest lows and the highest highs. Like, I want it all. But then there's this part of me, this discernment that's going, take it a step back, sweetie. Like, let's contain ourselves here, and we gotta get money first, before we can go off and travel. We gotta do this. And so it's like this mental checklist, which is good. I feel like the way I learn things, like, I'm one of those people that could cling on to one subject until you're like an expert at it, or also the kind of person to pick up a ton of subjects. This is why I have a hard time finishing a book. But then sometimes I have this thing that I am just absolutely obsessed with, and then I'm either obsessed with it or uninterested. I usually end up circling back to it. This is a scene where God's like, okay, all those skills that you've acquired, use them. I mean, really use them. in front of a real audience. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I got it. Yeah. Because the 5s, they have to be completely prepared. And the thing is, you're never completely prepared until you just go ahead and leap. So then the 3s are more like, let's fake it till we make it, you know? So as a 4, you get both sides. So I don't know, I feel like it's a healthy balance, and there's negative aspects to both sides. And in the 4 itself, it's just an interesting combination, and I feel that I'm never bored with myself. Like, I always discover something new about my personality. You know, it's that identity-seeking drive that 4s have. And it's beautiful. If you are a 4, please comment down below. I would love to hear your take on this. Which wing do you favor more? If you want to see more content like this, comment down below and I'll consider making the whole series about it. So I'll link all my social medias down below. But until next week. Bye, persons.